Japanese music in the third quarter of 2023. As always, there have been lots of exciting events, and as always, we are back with another quarterly review to tell you what those events have been, whether they be the big events that you probably were already aware of and just sort of like reminding you going down memory lane, or whether it's things that maybe you weren't aware of. We're here to round up the big events of the beginning of July through to the end of September, the third quarter of 2023, beginning with the plethora of tours. Yeah, we don't usually talk about touring so much on the quarterly reviews because of the fact that most bands are touring most of the time. However, it is quite noticeable that in 2023, obviously looking at this sort of post-COVID environment, a lot of the bands have been gigging more and more and more. And I think that in this quarter, really, we've seen kind of an explosion of it. We've had Passcode with their US tour. That's been a really cool thing to see them going out there and really trying to make a name for a very different type of that Japanese fusion of metal and pop, you know, trying to bring that to an American audience as well, which I really hope goes well. We've had Hanabie, who've just been exploding recently, and we'll be talking about them a little bit later in this video as well, but they've been doing their tour, which has been covering a lot of distance, really going around the world and connecting with a lot of fans, which I think has been doing great things for their profile. Band-Maid have continued their 10th anniversary tour, which has just been non-stop. A lot of that has happened in America, and I believe they've now rounded off their American leg of this tour. They're back in Japan. I think Lollapalooza, there was a few like festivals and things involved. They've really been again pushing up their profile, and even as well we had Asterism were back in the US. That's really great to see. So it is worth pointing out at the top of this video that touring is really just increasingly becoming something we're seeing more and more of. We're seeing more of these Japanese bands bringing their music outside to the rest of the world, which is fantastic. I really feel like we're getting to see the Japanese sort of gig and touring scene really recover, and this is a great time to really push more Japanese music. So hopefully you guys have been able to see some of these bands. As always, get in the comments, tell me about any of these shows you've seen or any shows you will be seeing. And on to our next point, which is one that maybe a lot of people might have noticed if you're not already into this band, but this is a massive, massive thing in Japanese music, which is of course the legendary band Scandal have won a Guinness World Record for being the longest continuous same lineup all-female band ever. And at 17 years of being the same lineup, that is quite impressive. And you might think, oh, this is just a very sort of weird, innocuous sort of Guinness World Record, but it really does actually do something very important in my opinion, which is it not only puts forward the sort of girls rock scene in Japan as well, but it also just shows that a lot of these bands that we get in Japan, they're known for the sort of gimmicks and the flashy images and all the sort of clever fusions, but it is important to say that there is a lot of commitment. There's a lot of bands who are really standing the test of time. Japan is not just producing fads, they're producing bands that really are, you know, the real deal, who love what they do and keep on doing it with passion, with creativity and with new ideas. And what better way to show that than with Scandal, one of the bands who really sort of helped to elevate this whole scene. Before BabyMetal broke out and really sort of expanded Japanese music overseas, Scandal were one of the groups who really, I think, started off the whole girls rock scene, along with bands like, you know, we had sort of Stereo Pony and Chatmonchy at the time, but Scandal are the ones who've stood the test of time, and they've watched this whole progression happen. I did a whole video about this, and yeah, I can't help but say, if you're not already aware of it, this is a great time to get into Scandal. They got some new music coming out as well in this fourth quarter, so I can't talk about it yet. However, yeah, Scandal really just doing something legendary, and once again just standing out as a quintessential example of some of the best of Japanese music. But talking of a band who seemed to be able to go on forever, let's talk about a band who didn't. But this is still a very positive entry, because at the end of the last quarter we were talking about how right at the end of June we had the disbandment of BiSH, which had been led up to for a long time. BiSH, the legendary alt-idol group who just had so many creative ideas and really did help themselves in sort of changing the landscape of Japanese music. They went off their separate ways, and I think there was a lot of curiosity about where they would all go and what each of the individual members would do. And I must say, I've been really impressed. Now, I'm going to be doing a full video about this a little bit later on, so I'm going to go into fairly light details now. but I will be going into more details about what each of the members have been doing since then, because there has been way more than I expected and way quicker. I was kind of keeping my fingers crossed, but wow, just simply on a musical level, we've had Ina has been working hard, producing so many things. She's been featuring in songs as well, some amazing featurettes that she's putting in. We've obviously had things like Pedro, you know, Ayuni's putting in her work there. We've had Sent Chi. She has had some amazing songs. I can't wait to talk to you about that, but definitely be checking out what Sent's been putting out. So Chi, I was really kind of hopeful for her, but I was worried that because she didn't quite have the same celebrity pull as like Ayuni and Ina, that she wouldn't have as much impact. But wow, the music she's been putting out, however popular it is or doesn't turn out to be, is great. Definitely worth checking out. And hashtag no bias. Hashtag no bias. I am a Momoko fan, as you guys know. I was kind of worried that she would kind of, you know, steer away from music, that she wouldn't continue that career. She put out a really, really great song as well, which just made me so happy hearing her working with someone who got the best out of her skills. She's got a very specific style of vocal delivery. It's very personal. It's not like the big vocals. It's more a sort of a passionate and personal sort of style of singing. Really great song she's had, as well as continuing her writing. And of course, all 6 members have been doing cool things, but already we've heard 4 singing careers coming into view, and I will be talking about what all of the members have been doing in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that as well. You know, this is the bit where I tell you to like and subscribe and all the YouTubery stuff. But moving on, I said I'd come back to Hanabie, didn't I? Well, now I will. Yeah, Hanabie have been one of the, I think probably the band who've most elevated in their fame. They're the band who I think have gone from being a lot of people were talking about them to they seem to really be capturing a lot of people's attention. Now, they have been touring, and I think there is still more room for them to grow, and I think their fame will continue to grow. I said before that they gave me a real vibe of when we first saw BabyMetal. I mean, people now are more aware of the Japanese music scene. It's harder to kind of shock them with some of the crazy things that happen in Japan. However, Hanabie have really brought that whole mixture of the pop kawaii meets metal in a whole new way, and they're doing it with some fantastic songs. Now, they had 2 new singles, Toso, which I know was super popular with a lot of fans, really lent into the hard side of things, and Be the Gal, which I really liked that. Again, I thought that was them making the most of the whole juxtaposition, but this all came on the back of them having a new album as well, and it's really great to see them recording a lot of new material. We had a conversation about this on the sister channel Ears to the East, and I know Benedict had been like listening to the album a lot, and he was talking about his opinions. I think we genuinely feel this is a band who've got a lot of really creative ideas. So it's nice to see a band like that who genuinely are quite interesting and creative, growing so quickly and producing new material as well. Not just sort of bagging the cash, going around touring, they're bringing new music to their fans as well. So yeah, I am really glad. And also considering they had obviously their drummer, Saya, she left earlier this year. So it's just great to see they haven't missed a step. They've kept on going. And yeah, Hanabie seem to be very much on the up and up, keeping on that trajectory, and so definitely a big story of this quarter, and probably we're going to be talking about them more in the future as well, I suspect. And talking of new releases, there have been some rather cool notable ones. I myself was really excited about Gatrick Spin's W album. I'm way overdue releasing my review of that album. I think you guys already know that I really loved it though, with tracks like Kachi Kachiyama and Replica on it. This is the band who've always had so many cool things going on, really hitting their stride. There's so much potential being unleashed here. Gatrick Spin just feel like a band who are reborn. I said this last time, it came through on the W album, but then we've also had Necrai Talkie, who released an EP earlier in August. That was really cool. Again, they seem to be a band who are just very comfortable in their own skins, releasing releasing music just feels like they are comfortable with their sound, but they're expanding, they're trying new things. And on top of that, we also had Love Bites even managed to release a live record, Knocking at Heaven's Gate. Did I just say record? I sound very old. I literally don't have a record player. I'm not that old. But new live album from Love Bites. So there's been music coming out. And talking of new music coming out, I have to, of course, mention Band-Maid's new single, Shambles. Like with a lot of the songs that come out from Band-Maid, you always hear sort of, a split opinion, but I think as a general, most people really enjoyed it. It was a good, hard-rocking song, kind of returned them to that after Memorable, which I really loved. I love when they go into those diversions and do stuff that's a little bit different from their usual sound. However, definitely, Shambles was going a little bit more into just a straight hard rock sound. It was the theme tune to, let me try and get this right, Kengan Ashura. Season 2, the ending theme, apparently. I don't really watch that much anime. However, that's apparently what it was. And again, along with their touring, this is a great way to expand them to more of a fan base. Where the touring's getting them across to a lot of US fans, this kind of thing is going to get them into the ears and homes of more Japanese fans as well. So this is just a good song, which a lot like Thrill did back in the day, just sort of cements for anyone who's not aware of them, any new fans, cements, hey, here is a good hard rocking band who can deliver accessible music, which at the same time has a lot of quality. So I just feel like Shambles is, yeah, it's not like the best Band-Maid song ever, but it just kind of shows a band who are very much in that sort of swing of gathering new fans, of doing a sound that, you know, brings people on their side. They've got an amazing body of material, and I'm looking forward to whenever the next album comes. There are going to be some great songs in that, I'm sure. But this is just another good sign of a good single that's going to bring more people on board. Shambles was a great single in my opinion. And talking of great singles, we have to talk about Metalli by BabyMetal. You know, it's interesting because every time BabyMetal comes up with something new, really going back to Metal Galaxy, there's been a lot of people who, yeah, it seems like they're almost churning through some fans. They have some core fans, but they have fans who maybe they've lost and gained new people over the time. It seems to be kind of a revolving door. And, you know, it always feels like every time BabyMetal releases something new, there's some people who love it, some people who hate it. Kind of like I was saying with Shambles a second ago, but very much with BabyMetal. I think Metalli is one of the first songs I've heard in a long time where even people who maybe had kind of lost a bit of faith in BabyMetal turned around and said, you know, that was a pretty good single. And it really was. It was just, it was centered around a riff, but it was a riff that really was just very engaging because Tom Morello, and you know, Tom Morello added his little bit of personality to it, added a little bit of that sort of feeling that made it feel like a worthwhile collaboration, but it still managed to very much be a BabyMetal song. It was great to hear the little bits of vocal coming in from Momoko as well, as strange as that was going into that kabuki style voice. But again, nice to hear some other vocal performance as well as Sue on there. This was obviously their first release as the new three-piece lineup as well, back to being a three-piece. And to me, it was just really nice to see them bring back a lot of the things that we really loved about BabyMetal. The video itself was really cool. There have been some people who objected to some things in the video. That's a whole different conversation. But overall, I was just happy to see them doing a new music video. It seemed like they had like a cool sort of set and everything that was constructed for it. And it just looked like they were having fun with the whole setup. Yeah, I just felt that this was BabyMetal recapturing a lot of the fun, recapturing the sort of quality of being a three-piece, having a song that really sort of dealt with the things that we love about BabyMetal, you know, catchiness, engaging riffs, something that you can bob your head along to, but also has a little bit of identity to it as well. It's not just another metal band. It's a band who have a sound that clearly sets them apart. Yeah, this to me was just exactly what you want from a BabyMetal single. We don't know what's going to be following up. We don't know what's going to be happening with this first album as them, you know, back to being a three-piece again. But I have to say that for me, this was just a really good sign that this is hopefully BabyMetal pointing in a direction that's going to keep their longevity for a while. Great single. And talking of BabyMetal, I should also maybe talk a little bit about Metalverse. Now, I did a video about this. I must admit the amount I know about them is not huge, so I'm not going to get into a huge amount of detail, but I did a video talking about a lot of the things that I'd heard and a lot of the things that have been released about them, but it does seem that we're getting to see more of Metalverse. Anyway, the songs seem to be quite interesting, definitely would appeal to BabyMetal fans, but they've got a little bit more of, shall we say, a little bit of a poppier edge, and it's also really cool to see a lot of the Sakura Gakuin members of years past kind of being given something new to do by our muse. I must admit I had some qualms about the fact that it's a five-piece group, but we only seem to have one singer. I do feel like that's not really leaning into the full talent that is on offer from all of these girls. It does seem that people are enjoying it though. And definitely this is, you know, if the BabyMetal thing does well and if they're willing to be creative with Metalverse and not just use it as a sort of way of cashing in on a formula that we already know, but actually doing creative things with it, this could be a really good place to go. But hey, if nothing else, it's more music and it is some familiar faces that we really like back doing some stuff in the sort of post-Sakura Gakuin area. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what comes from this. We don't know a huge amount, I feel, yet. But, you know, Metalverse is starting to become a thing. But last and not least, I have to talk about the massive, massive news regarding, well, this channel. If you've been following for a while, you already know this, but we have now started recording exclusive live performances with Japanese bands. They're performing exclusively for us. We will have live performances in the studio with bands that you'll only be able to see here. I'm so excited about that. We've been interviewing them as well, so we've been putting out these videos where we interview and talk to them. We've got bands like Tone Spoon, Koto no Hatarazu, I Love Me, who we've been trying to get I Love Me for years to sort of do something with us, and finally we got them in, and there's more bands coming already. Dadanams, of course, our beloved favourite group who we are helping to push up, the amazing female idol group who just do the most outrageous rock stuff. They've had Kimi and Kuru, the two new members, join, and they are also have new songs. There's so much happening with them. We're sort of helping elevate them. We've got interviews with the new members as well. There's just a lot of really cool stuff happening, which, I mean, I'm doing the YouTuber thing. Remember to subscribe so that you can follow all this, but there is a lot more exclusive content coming to this channel now, which I'm really excited about. I love talking to you guys about music. However, I know this channel has just basically for most of its life, you know, about 5 years of just me talking for the best part. So it's going to be really cool to have a lot more content where I will be bringing you the voices of Japanese artists and the music of Japanese artists so you can share in it, you can enjoy it, and you can just, yeah, hopefully feel like you're there with us on the ground enjoying the music scene here. I am so excited to bring this to you. And that, for me, has been one of the big stories. So hopefully in the next quarter, we'll see a lot more of that coming out. There are more videos coming very soon. If you're watching this when it comes out, it's not going to be long until you start seeing the first of those interviews and exclusive live performances. If you've seen this video a few weeks after it's come out, go check the channel. There might already be some of them on there. Anyway, there you go. That's the big news from our channel. So, to wrap this all up in conclusion, I just want to say a big thank you to you guys for supporting the channel, for enjoying Japanese music. As always, get in the comments and tell me about your big events from the quarter. You might be thinking of things that I've completely missed. That tends to happen sometimes. But I think it has been another amazing quarter for Japanese music. I can't wait to see what happens in the last quarter of this year. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, so much stuff coming up. So, just thank you for you guys. As always, being great. I'll see you soon either on Discord or in the comments of this video. And until then, for now, ciao, ciao.